Hello and good morning everyone, it is Goose the Grey here to bring you another solo queue challenger game. And I found a good one here. It's got not only Froggen but also Nyph, Krebs and Dis, Zaxxus, Very Big Llama, Gabanossi, 7 Army, Elite Hofnar, and Deadbringer Risco in it. So I'm really looking forward to it. And particularly interesting should be the mid lane matchup of Mordekaiser against Froggen LeBlanc. That should be awesome to watch. We have, of course, Nyph on a support Annie together with Krebs and one on that Tristana in the bot lane. There is a Nasus top for the red team, and Zaxxus on Vi is in the jungle. On the blue team, we have Riven in the top lane. Very Big Llama gonna play that one. 7 Army in the jungle with Lee Sin. We have Deadbringer Risco, as mentioned, with Mordekaiser in mid lane, and then on the bottom lane, it will be a Caitlyn Leona matchup. So, really looking forward to this game. We have about 1.5 minutes remaining on the spectator delay until we can get into this game. And it's really going to be interesting to see what these lanes do, because if you look at the bot lane, both of the supports have actually picked up an Ignite, so they really want to make something happen there. Both of them rather kill hungry. AD carries, of course, both with a barrier and a flash, so they want to stay safe. Caitlyn will have the range advantage at the early levels, but especially towards the late game, Tristana will have an edge there. We'll see how that works out in the early phases of the game, and of course Riven against Nasus in top will be an interesting matchup as well. Nasus will be trying to stack his Q as much as possible, while Riven wants to kind of snowball ahead, and if she gets a couple of kills, she can definitely start roaming around to the mid lane and stuff and really make an impact on this game. But Nasus has that teleport up, of course, and if Riven doesn't manage to read his actions and be where he teleports before him, or doesn't manage to interrupt the teleport, that can be a huge influence on team fights, especially for stuff like an early dragon or something like that. So if the red team plays it right here, they may just have an edge with that. We are about to get into the loading screen. 10 seconds, 9, 8, 7. And I'm just excited because the picks are awesome. I haven't seen a Mordekaiser in forever. I really want to see the Riven versus Nasus matchup. I want to see how SK Nyph does on his Annie up against a Leona Caitlyn. And there are just so many factors in this game. And of course, Froggen on LeBlanc is always a pleasure to watch. So it should be interesting. Should be good. We are on the loading screen now, and before we get into the game, I want to talk a little bit about the level 1, because Annie is the only champion in the game, along with Alistar actually, so not the only one, but Annie and Alistar are the only ones that will have an AoE CC at level 1. It is incredibly powerful and never to be underestimated what that can do to an enemy team, but there is a Riven and a Leona on the other team, plus a Lee Sin with a Sonic Wave, so there's a very strong level 1 fight on the blue team, and a pretty powerful level 1 on the red team. However, with Nasus needing to go towards the late game, Tristana needing towards the late game, and LeBlanc needs her entire skill set in order to be really powerful at assassinating and doing that big burst damage, don't think the red team will do anything here. Rather, the blue team could think to engage at level 1, but with the reduced gold rewards for First Blood and the risk that is involved in it, it's just not really worth it anymore. So I doubt we will see any action whatsoever. And the standard jungle starts. Vi at her blue, Lee Sin at his red, and then both of them will move towards the top half of the map, meet in the top lane for the first time probably. Lee Sin will really be looking to make an impact, and he will want to try to snowball Riven ahead, because if she gets ahead, she stays ahead most of the time, and then she'll just, towards the late game, be able to assassinate targets like LeBlanc. She'll just be able to take her out if LeBlanc isn't really careful. That's something that needs to happen here. So let me switch all this around until we have the right setups. Why did I do that? And these two. There we go. And Froggen doing the mastermind thing, forgetting his trinket at first. Is still close to base, so he might just pick that up in a second.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
There we go. Gone for the wording trinket as well. Mordekaiser's currently buying. So we see both teams moving out onto the rift. Pretty defensive setup so far. Was to be expected, really, but the interesting thing here is that not only Leona, who of course wants to be tanky, picked up the Doran's shield, but Annie as well, who generally is comfortable with other support gold generation items as well. Instead, both of them have opted for the Doran's shield with health potions. Annie got 2 of them, whereas Leona only has 1. That should be keeping both the supports at fairly high HP, and it's actually going to be a Mordekaiser top lane with a Riven mid, which makes it even more interesting, because that means Riven is able to early game burst the LeBlanc, and that should be quite powerful. I really want to see Very Big Llama make the big plays here against Froggen. Froggen still going back to base again. Minions are already out, so it's only going to be Tristana helping Vi get started into that jungle. For some reason my microphone setup here isn't quite working out the way I wanted it to, so excuse any noise that comes from that. It's fine now. We see both junglers starting at their first buffs. They've already cleared it, are going to be moving across the map towards the top then. Oh wait, I have to switch Riven and Mordekaiser. There we go. That's more like it. As we are getting into the game, the first stun already out on Caitlyn, and she takes a huge amount of damage actually. Very nicely played there by the red team. Nyph and Krebson already doing serious work, getting Caitlyn to about 200 HP. She's forced to use her health potion. And that's one of the things about Annie. Her range is just so huge. Even against a Caitlyn, she's able to auto-attack her ass. Look at that. Whenever Gabanasi tries to go for a CS, she's just auto-attack, auto-attack, auto-attack. And that's exactly what you need to do as a long-range support. That is how you play your advantage. And right now, Caitlyn and Leona are completely zoned out of this and can't even CS, already leading to a 9-4 advantage for Tristana. Of course, now the waves at the tower, it's going to make it a little bit easier for Caitlyn and Leona. It's pretty risky. And if this keeps up, this could very quickly become a rather large advantage for Nyph and Krebson here. Junglers meeting around the red team's wraiths for the first time. Lee Sin peeking his head in. Doesn't quite have a smite. He wants to delay it. There's his smite, but now Froggen comes around. Actually does a lot of damage, and 7 army here is going to get snared, ignited as well, and that's going to be first blood for Vi. Lee Sin getting a little bit cocky. He wanted that big wraith and paid for it with his life. Riven, of course, did not really respond to it, did not roam over there, and instead Froggen came around on LeBlanc, picks up the first kill for Vi at the start of this game, and that's already a nice chunk of gold in favor of the red team. In addition to their bot lane going very well for the time being. This does not bode well for the blue team. They have to pull themselves together. Vi now coming around, looking for a gank onto Riven. This is going to work. This could be huge. There is the Vault Breaker, but my spectator doesn't want to see it. Anyway, Riven gets away safely. Of course, a pretty safe champion. Didn't even have to flash. That's fine. Oh, we see a flash in the bot lane, though. Annie going very, very low. Leona is going to pick her up here. Elite Hofna gonna take that kill onto Annie, of course, giving over the assist to Caitlyn. Caitlyn also pretty low. Does land the Pilter for Peacemaker, though, here. And Tristana will be forced to run away. Did a nice amount of damage, but it just wasn't enough, and Annie actually got taken out. Did not have the chance to ignite. Although there was still the barrier on Caitlyn as well, of course. So she was still fairly safe. A little bit greedy, I guess, and a nice play. Oh, Lee Sin going under the tower. The barrier is popped by Tristana, and she is going to survive for now. But now Caitlyn comes in. Nice Pilter for Peacemaker, picks her up. But Vi's on the back line is going to pick Caitlyn up in return, making it a 1-for-1 exchange. But of course, an additional assist going over to the blue team. Now evening out the kills at 2-2. Mordekaiser proxy farming. Only about 400 gold separating these two teams right now. It's not a huge amount. And as you can see, the 13 CS difference still haven't made a difference in the bot lane. Both of the 80s with the same items, just a couple extra potions. Oh, LeBlanc going under the tower, very, very low here. One more auto attack now. Can't do it though, is ignited and the tower would have hit her. And Very Big Llama here knowing exactly how much damage he can take, and just sits around forever. Now Lee Sin coming in, they want this kill. Oh, Riven with the flash does get the knockup and is going to pick up the kill. Nicely done there. First surviving the engage and then still having the flash to go back in, picking up that kill, and now making it a 3 for 2. And if Riven gets going now, this could be terrifying for LeBlanc. Froggen picked up an additional amplification tome and a Dorn's Ring. Wants a little bit more early damage and HP. We'll see what Riven picks up now that she goes B in just a couple seconds. Leona going in onto Nyph again. Nyph taking a lot of damage here, already below half health once more. Another auto attack coming in from Caitlyn. And what seemed really, really good for Tristana and Annie right now, it's kind of turning around. And if Annie gets engaged on a couple more times by Leona, it could just be another death. But Tristana still has double the CS of Caitlyn. She's, of course, still 16 CS ahead. Supports are even in items. Leona seems to want to go back, even though she has wards, and I don't think she has a lot of gold. No, it's only like 332. She could pick up boots, I guess, but other than that, there's not much for her to gain. Vi is hanging around the bot lane, wants to make something happen. And we see Riven picking up a Vamp Scepter and 2 long swords. It's going to be pretty scary there. A lot of early damage. Meanwhile, in top lane, it's just a farming game. Bunch of components picked up by Mordekaiser, no real item, whereas Nasus has gone for the Sheen, wants a little bit of additional damage. And we see Lee Sin actually picking up a Spirit Stone and a Longsword for himself, wants to do early damage as well, while Vi has actually gone for the Boots of Mobility. She really wants to go everywhere, make ganks happen, and just be all over the place, all over the map. He's now at a blue buff, that's going to probably be given over to Froggen. So Lee Sin is also at his red buff, wants to pick that up for himself. Farming game continues. It's only 200 gold between these two teams right now, and it's actually not even. It's basically plus minus 0 between the two teams, with 3-2 in kills. So the red team's still a little bit ahead. It's mainly in the CS difference in the bot lane. Of course, Riven already building up a CS differential mid as well. With that kill now, pretty scary. A little bit of trading going back and forth in all the lanes. Top lane Mordekaiser is winning out by a little bit. Bottom lane, Leona's just taunting them by recalling in the lane all the time. And he's not falling for it this time around. And Tristana maintains 20 CS difference between the two. Lee Sin now moving top. There is a pink ward though, spotting him out. And another ward in that Tribush area. So he's definitely been seen. Vi might just move up there and catch out Lee in between the towers, and Mordekaiser isn't there. This is very dangerous for Lee Sin here. And is he going to be able to get away? Yes, he was withered. He's just going to walk away calmly and peacefully. Does look like they want to make a move onto that tower. Leona going in again. Nyph going very low. Tibbers came out as well. That's a lot of damage onto Caitlyn, but the Solar Flare came out as well. And another Piltover Peacemaker onto Annie, gets her very low. Now Leona in a lot of trouble. How's she going to get out of that? She's going to be killed mid-dash of the Zenith Blade. And now they go onto Caitlyn as well. Is she going to go down? No, Tristana has to turn around. The Tibbers actually still picking it up with a dot from Tristana. Nicely played there. Double kill in the bot lane and 2 kills in top lane as well. This was a huge development for the red team. Vi went down up there, but Nasus picked up 2 kills in return. Both Mordekaiser and Lee Sin went down. Now Froggen in the mid lane, gonna pick up a kill for himself as well. So the red team all of a sudden turning on the aggression, getting kills all over the place. In 3 of 3 lanes, 7-4 now, with a nice 2,000 gold advantage in their favor. A double buff onto Nasus as well. Froggen, of course, still has his blue buff as well. So this is huge. And you can see, Riven is so scared. Riven now picked up a Negatron Cloak. Can't stand against the LeBlanc burst otherwise. Whereas LeBlanc is allowed to start getting items. Most likely going to look towards that Deathfire Grasp. Already starting with the Fiendish Codex early then. You see Tristana already has the Bilgewater Cutlass. And another dagger in there. Nasus picked up the Phage now. And Vi is on her fast way to a Spirit of the Ancient Golem. So the red team getting pretty scary here. Already working very, very quickly towards their first big items. LeBlanc did pick up the needlessly large rod. We see another gank in top lane. Vi coming around here. Mordekaiser in a lot of trouble. Not sure if he's able to get out. He still has his flash. There is the flash, but it's not going to be enough. He still has some shield value. Lee Sin coming around. Is it going to be enough to save Mordekaiser? One more hit. That's going to be it, but a return kill comes in onto Nasus. Lee Sin picking that up, and we have another engagement in the bot lane. Leona going very low once more. The solo flare landed, and now Vi is in trouble in the top lane. Lee Sin taking her out here. Is he going to manage? Yes, he will. And Leona was able to stay safe. Bottom lane, just barely. Caitlyn also surviving by a hair's width. Did have to use the flash. Ace in the hole, going to be blocked by Annie. But what is going to happen now? Leona still sitting under that tower, but Caitlyn cannot stick around. They could dive this. And I guess Leona and Caitlyn just have to give that tower up. For now, anyway. But it was a kill onto Caitlyn. So that's going to be pretty nice. But Tristana maintaining that, or rather expanding that devastating farm advantage. Now 86 to 43 CS. That is not something you want to happen. And there's the call for the red team to go for Dragon. Vi is coming down as well. I'm not sure if there's anything the blue team can really do against this. Red team currently so far ahead. By now with the completed spurt of the Ancient Golem, Lee Sin did go for a Brutalizer on top of those boots of mobility. There's no vision, no awareness, and no reaction from the blue team. That Dragon easily going to go over to the Reds. I'm actually kind of surprised by the build that Mordekaiser is going for with his Spirit Visage. Oh, Riven getting ganked in the mid lane. Assault and Battery was there. Lee Sin going to come in, but it's not going to be enough. There's more damage from LeBlanc. Is Riven going to survive? Yes, the wind slash. Is it the wind slash? Broken Wings, I thought. No, it is the wind slash. Came out. Did a little more additional damage. Right, Broken Wings is the passive, I believe. It's one of her skills. Anyway, Lee Sin not quite done with Froggen in the mid lane yet. Is going to get snared though, and Froggen just going to be safe. It's a nice escape in mid lane. Keeping Riven safe there. That Negatron cloak doing a good amount of work. Tibbers actually missed there. Now they can go back in. Nyph getting engaged on the solo flare coming out as well. Caitlyn doing a lot of damage here. One more hit. That's going to be a kill. Is Leona going to be able to get away? Yes, she will. And there's the ace in the hole. That's going to be a double kill for Caitlyn. Nicely played. And meanwhile, top tower went down and Nasa's still going to get taken out here as well. Froggen gonna get taken out as well. So much back and forth action. Now 10 to 8. 1-1 in towers. But still a 500 gold advantage for the red team. That may not last that long. It's only the dragon right now working in their favor. But this is now a 3-2-1 Caitlyn with 62 CS. So she's still 40 behind. But she's picking up kills. And with the Leona, now that they're ahead, they can keep doing this. If Leona gets a Talisman of Ascension, they can easily engage onto Annie and Tristana time and again. Or Leona just decides to go even tankier and is able to survive. More damage is going to be more of a front line. However, we do have a bunch of completed items on the red team now. We have the Trinity Force on Nasus, the Deathfire Grasp on LeBlanc, and the Blade of the Ruined King on Tristana, plus the Sightstone on Annie. So all of these guys now getting to their comfort zone, getting their first power spikes. And they really have to make something happen with that. It was a surprising turnaround there just now, getting kills all across the map. For the blue team this time, we've seen it earlier with the red team making about the same move. Aggression in all lanes at the same time, taking out towers and stuff. But this time around, it was the other team that made it happen and made it work for themselves. This is a pretty nice invade. If that red buff would be there, that'd be pretty great for the red team. Tristana, Vi, and Annie around. LeBlanc also pretty close by. Annie just waiting at that red buff, and now Riven here in the mid lane may be in trouble. They might try to dive her. Bunch of members around that Wraith camp. Now Caitlyn and Leona moving up. There are wards though, so they're spotted out. Snare came out onto Lee Sin. A little bit of dancing back and forth. The Tibbers lands onto Caitlyn, and Caitlyn is in a lot of trouble. Tries to go over the wall, not going to happen. Salt and Battery came out as well. That's going to be very, very dead Caitlyn. There's a lot of burst. Blade of the Ruined King active, and the Deathfire Grasp were used on her. She just got completely taken out. Beautiful Tibbers from Annie with that stun there over the wall. That's what wards do for you. And now this mid tower is going to be under huge amount of pressure. Leona going a little bit low. LeBlanc taking a little bit of damage, but is going to stay easily safe. She's going to be able to walk away as Mordekaiser still shoving that top lane. He's been doing pretty well for himself, despite Nasus having that Trinity Force and Mordekaiser just having components. He has a Seeker's Armguard, a needlessly large rod, and that Spirit Visage. No, the Haunting Guys, of course. Looking to get his first big item. Oh, almost takes Froggen out, but now he's surely going to go down. Nasus still flashes it one direction, actually puts the ultimate down. Still does a lot of damage. It's not going to be enough, though. Blanc came back around. That's going to be a kill for Nasus. Mordekaiser pushing a little bit too far there. Not escaping early enough. Very, very close and tense game here. 10-10 in kills. It's only 500 gold between the two teams. A tower in favor of the blue team, even though they're behind in gold. Here's an engage on Tristana. She does manage to jump away during the dash. The Solar Flare is being flashed out. Nice reaction time. It's going to keep her safe. She was without a support, so that could have been pretty devastating. There's still another 1.5 minutes left on the dragon, though, so that's not about to be up. Annie and LeBlanc here catching out Lee Sin. He's going to jump away to Caitlyn. Now that's going to be a dead pink ward in that bush. A lot of the blue team around this mid lane area. It's in the hole coming out. Blocked by Annie, and Lee Sin goes in there. Pretty deep. Has to flash back out, and oh my god, the damage onto Riven. She cannot do this. The Qs from Nasus already doing so much damage, and with a LeBlanc as backup, you can't afford to be that low because LeBlanc is just going to take you out, and that's exactly what she did there. Froggen saying thank you very much. 2-3 at this point with two other... Oh my god, the numbers on the red team look beautiful. This Nyph actually with the timbers going very deep there. They take out Mordekaiser. Nyph able to escape for now. No, it's not going to be enough. The ultimate taking her out. Not the ultimate. It's just the ignite and the tower. What am I saying? But the red team here with the clear advantage out of that 1-for-1 trade under the tower. Perfectly fine. They took out the tower as well, and they had already taken out Riven before. Now Leona tries to go back in, goes very, very low. Nasus is going to get taken out, though, in exchange for Leona. Caitlyn and Lee Sin still alive. Tristana and LeBlanc still around. Once the cooldowns are back up for Froggen, he may just decide to re-engage. Not for now. And as we take another look across the items, especially on the blue side here, we do have the first couple big ones coming out. Zonya's Hourglass completed. Now LeBlanc goes back in. Thought about it. Lee Sin was safe enough, though. Anyway, Zonya's Hourglass from Mordekaiser completed. There's a Brutalizer on top of the Spirit of the Ancient Golem on Lee Sin. Then Riven has now gone for a BF Sword as well as the Brutalizer. Wants that Bloodthirster for herself. Caitlyn has finished her Bloodthirster and is building the Avarice Blade, looking to get that Static Shiv as soon as possible. Additional wave clear, it's always nice. And Annie has finished the Talisman of Ascension and enables the red team to move around a lot easier, and they're going for this dragon here again. Second one of the game. Solar Flare actually, and the Wind Slash not quite able to pick that up. Nice try though, it was give them an A for effort. I was able to get out after getting that smite down. Nicely done by her. She avoided the Solar Flare, which enabled her to smite nonetheless. She was saying, thank you very much, I'll take that dragon for myself. And now Tristana trying to get onto Caitlyn in this bottom lane. That Blade of the Rune King doing some nice work. Caitlyn has to flash away in order to stay safe. Back to the farming game we go. At least for a little bit. A teleport coming into the bot lane. Nasus for the first time making real use of that, but isn't even needed because Caitlyn's just taken out by Annie and Tristana. Now Leona in a whole bunch of trouble. There are 4 members from the red team. Easy kills for them. That's another 2 in favor of the red team. They're now 3,500 gold ahead. All of a sudden, they're just snowballing a bit, but this mid tower not going to live here. Blue team gonna take that down. Question is, are they gonna get engaged on from behind by Vi and the rest of the red team here? Tristana did stay bot, but Vi wants a little bit of bashing back and forth. Nasus just does so much damage with his Q at this point already, even though his stacks are only at about 270. It's not even that much, but he's just, with that Trinity Force, chunking people for so much that they're not able to stand before him. And Tristana, meanwhile, in the bot lane, gonna take out that tower. Now she has to get out of there. Caitlyn taking her very low. Actually, Tristana winning that out. Wow, and with the Solar Flare, still goes down. The ace in the hole was interrupted due to that. Jesus Krebs, and what are you doing to these people? Just beautiful play there. Not going to be able to get away from the Lee Sin. Tried to get away with the Blade of the Ruin King. But that fight, like Tristana is so confident, taking out that tower at about half HP. Caitlyn comes in with full. And Tristana just stands there, auto attacks, kites Caitlyn all the way away. And then the Solar Flare comes out, and it looks as if Tristana might die. Still takes out Caitlyn nonetheless. And the Ace in the Hole is interrupted, cancelled, and Tristana survives for the time being, then sadly taken out by Lee Sin. But imagine if Lee Sin hadn't been there, that would have been a beautiful play. So the red team definitely here, making their moves count. Tristana now insta-buying the Infinity Edge. That is just... she's just gotten a whole bunch scarier, and we have just seen how scary she already was. Caitlyn, really behind here, has to make things happen for herself, or she will just not be very useful towards the rest of this game. Riven and Mordekaiser now want to make a move onto Nasus. Nasus using the ultimate is going to try and kill Riven. Not going to be enough. Riven going to take him out with the Wind Slash. 220 has the Bloodthirster done now on top of that Brutalizer. And of course Lee Sin with the Aegis came around the corner as well, and Mordekaiser really doing a nice chunk of damage with the high amount of AP that he already has. The cooldown reduction boots in order to get his skills up a little bit faster. But Nasus has the Frozen Heart completed this time around. Next time it won't be as easy, as Tristana actually getting caught out. Nice kill there. The backwards kick from Lee Sin, but Caitlyn in the backlines is getting assassinated. Annie and LeBlanc going to take her out, and now Leona in a dead run is not going to be able to get away from Vi. LeBlanc coming over the side as well. There's the damage about to come in. Oh, the snare actually misses. Still won't be enough. Another fairly easy kill for the red team. 2-for-1 exchange there. That's still okay. And now Lee Sin's in a whole bunch of trouble. Gets ignited, is snared, is stunned. And that's going to be him going down. He tried to flash over the wall, didn't quite manage. Vi, meanwhile, on the run in top lane. Doesn't matter, though. After another kill in the mid lane, Froggen here, 6, 2, and 4, making things count for him. And just picking up all the possible advantages as Annie catches out Mordekaiser. Now there's the Zhonya's being popped to avoid the Froggen damage. But Froggen doesn't care. Puts the chain back down with Vi and Annie there as well. That's going to be another kill. The blue team just getting caught out here repeatedly. And now they're 5,000 gold behind. 5 kills behind, a tower behind. And this may just be a Baron for the red team. They're going for it. There's vision on it for the blue team. Caitlyn is way out of position though. She's in the bot lane. Tristana can just sit over the wall and auto attack that. LeBlanc still staying mid. Riven moving in. Baron already below half health, and now Riven is going in. The stun coming out. There's the Assault and Battery. Tristana finally jumping in, and Riven has to flash out. Has to get away from that as LeBlanc actually caught Leona in the jungle and now picks up Riven as well. Froggen doing cleanup duty here. That's an uncontested, or fairly uncontested Baron for the red team. Froggen now has to defend himself from Lee Sin, but the rest of the team is there to help. Oh, what a kick from Lee Sin. That was beautiful, but not beautiful enough. Froggen barely survives that. Had to use his flash, but that's completely okay. But the timing on that kick, it actually knocked Tristana up during her jump, and another member of the red team that was coming around the corner. So it was about as good as it was going to get. It was just not quite good enough. And this is now getting really, really hard for the blue team. Can they hold against this push? Baron has just been acquired by the red team. They've got another Trinity Force on Vi now. They've got a Death Cap and a Morellonomicon and a Deathfire Grasp on LeBlanc. They've got a 2-item Tristana that is soon to be picking up more. She's already got another 1,250, so she could get a Zeal or something along those lines. Maybe another pickaxe and the longsword building towards the last whisper. So this is getting really, really scary, and all they have to offer in resistance, really Mordekaiser and Caitlyn, the two strongest ones there. But look at this, Caitlyn going half health from one Nasus Q and has to flash away just because she's not able to take it up with him. Nasus is so powerful here. Currently at 348 stacks. So that's pretty nice for him. Now the red team turning around the aggression again. They wanted to get onto Nasus, but the Assault and Battery, there's the Solar Flare to prevent the chase. And Mordekaiser coming around the corner is going to keep Lee Sin safe for now. If he hadn't been there, that could have been another death. And now Tristana fighting it out with Riven. That stun from Annie doing so much work, and Tristana just chunking people for so much of their HP. Now LeBlanc coming around the back line as well is going to try pick someone up together with Tristana. Look at that damage. Froggen takes out Caitlyn. Caitlyn doesn't have anything to say about that, and now Mordekaiser going to be taken out here as well with the Tibbers, with the stun, and the Tristana on top of that. Nothing for him to be done. It is now 26 to 15. Tibbers tanking up the tower. Tristana can take this out. There's a minion wave in the back as well. And that's a 10,000 lead now for the red team. They've just been snowballing their little tiny advantages that they had picked up farther and farther ahead. 2 towers going down almost simultaneously, top and mid lane. And now they're onto the top inhibitor tower. The rest of the team, namely Nasus and LeBlanc, coming around as well. They're actually late even to kill the tower. This is going to be the first inhibitor of the game here, surely, for the red team. And then they can just rotate over to mid. They're so strong right now. There's just nothing that the blue team can do to prevent this push. Just being shoved back. This is going to be inhibitor number 2. And you know, 1 inhibitor is still pretty okay, especially after the changes. But 2 inhibitors is pretty harsh. And look at the minion wave in the bot lane. Now the red team can just rotate down there and try to take another tower. They're just sitting here looking for a trap. The Lee Sin Sonic Wave landed. That's them going in there. Riven already going very deep. Nasus using the ultimate and the Wither on Riven. Riven forced to back away, and that's going to be the 3rd tower. The 3rd inhibitor tower going down. Now, fight continues. Another Wither coming out onto Lee Sin. Mordekaiser in a lot of trouble. Is going to go down to Vi. Inhibitor heal also taken out. LeBlanc looking for more, almost taking out Caitlyn in one burst, but Riven afterwards going down to Vi. And this is going to be game. The first Nexus tower here under attack. And you know, this game seemed so even for such a long time, and then all of a sudden, the aggression was turned up, and everything exploded. Like, there was just nothing that the blue team had to offer anymore. Red team just out of nowhere turned it on. 9-2-10 Froggen. He once again was a driving force in that team. And of course, a 7-2-5 Vi. No one could take it up with a 3-4-8 Nasus. He was just such a terror with that Trinity Force, with his Frozen Heart, and that Spectre's Cowl as well. Such a beefy member. And then, of course, the back line, the bottom lane, sorry, with Tristana and Annie. At the first, it went really, really well for them, and the CS difference definitely helped in favor of the red team. But then a couple of kills went over to the blue team. Red team pulled it together, got a couple nice ganks in, and came out with the win here. GG well played, and nice job to both these teams. Nicely carried there by Froggen and the rest of the red team. Anyway, this is it for me now. I have to head out. I have classes to attend. So I hope you like this video, and you may like it, you may subscribe, and you may follow my Twitter, which I'll put in the description, I mean. Yes, my brain is already mush, and I am super excited for classes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again. Have a good one.